Hello everybody, welcome. So, today we are having a surprise little stream. So I don't know if anyone's in here yet. It'll probably take a moment for the people to populate. But what I wanted to do is just come on here and answer a few questions that I've gotten this week. We can peek in tanks if there's time to kill in between. It's not going to be a long stream, but I wanted to answer questions this way since I had a little bit of spare time. So, I mean, if you guys have any questions, this is your show. I don't have an agenda today. So I really just want to make sure that I'm, servicing the channel and making sure that everybody's happy, their tanks are healthy and all that jazz. I've also got the fish room cleaned up at the moment, which feels good. I know it's always a mess because I'm always filming videos and throwing things around. The cichlids are out now that I'm just chilling on the couch here. And boy, are they crazy to feed. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to feed them a couple little morsels of aquarium co-op food while we wait for people to filter in. Or not aquarium co-op. I don't have any aquarium co-op food for them. I have aquarium co-op fry food. But what I do have is I've got some, let's get this not so zoomed in. I have some little pellets that Aquatic Arts is going to start selling. And I also have these sinking algae wafers. And these cichlids do not give a darn. They will go for anything. So watch this action take place. Already gone. Alright. Let's try a few more. There go 5. Boom. Okay, already gone. Let's try 7. Can they get them all before they hit the ground? Boom, boom. Oh, they fell into the moss. So the odd things about these guys is when food falls into the moss, they don't really. I've been hesitant to scrub just because this male right here, you see him in the rocks, not the albino one, but right here, this male is so colorful right now. He's full rainbow pattern, like the video I posted the other day. And then the other subdominant male is really red also. So I think that they may have babies in the nest, actually. So I haven't wanted to scrub this corner, and yet that's where they're hanging out. But yeah, pretty fun to feed them. They're insane. They definitely strike like little bass. Here, we'll do another little. Hey, thank you so much, Nano Aquarium guy. Really appreciate that. $1.99 red thumbs up. Alright, let's try feeding them something bigger. If it's bloodworms, they go freaking nuts. But boom, the big cichlids. Oh, is Daddy in the den gonna get it? Yeah. Let's break another one. Boom. Let's see if they get these. It's really interesting though. Like the first thing to go in their tank, they just go nuts. And see that male, he is for sure in charge of the whole tank. And right now, he's actually got really nice color if we can catch him. He's 2.5 feet deep though, so you lose a little bit of the color, as I've said before, in the tank. But you can kind of see, turn sideways. There you are, buddy. Yeah, come out into the open. He's got a beautiful red pattern, and he's got rainbow down his sides, like a full-on rainbow. It goes from bronze to like gold to copper to blue to green, and he's just hiding. Like, I don't know why he's hiding out like that, because he's such a badass when he's in his little fort. Any case, we'll back off and see if he comes back out. But so what questions do y'all have for me? It's good to see everybody. Good to see K-Day. Good to see Clay, Average Fish Keeper, George, of course, Robin, Donnie. Glad you're doing your water changes as always. 503 Aquatics, welcome. Yeah, just this is a spur of the moment kind of thing. David, what's going on? Yes. David says I bought some bloodworms today for pea puffers. The worms were so big they nearly ate the fish. You know, pea puffers, they're pretty amazing what they can eat. I mean, they'll eat snails that are way bigger than them. I don't know if anybody else happened to see it, but I did. That the Aquatic Arts website just put out a list of new Stiphodon species, and now I'm gonna have to spend money. I'm already like out of spending money at the moment, and like I've got the bird songs, we've got the elegans, the natans, and then we bought these little cute catfish from Burma, Myanmar. They're like a glass catfish or shadow catfish. And yeah, they're just really fun. Also, these guys are making more of an appearance. Let me kind of move stuff so hopefully we can see them. Of course, now I scared them. But also the baby sparkling gouramis that were just itty bitty fry that were in this tank, they're finally growing up, and just at breakneck pace. I don't know why they decided to grow so quickly out of the blue, but they did. 3G, what's going on? We'll wait for them to come back because they hang out right in the middle when they're not scared off when I shove a net in their thing. Alright, let's see here. Let's start answering some questions, and I'll just take the camera off moi and put it onto toi. Well, not you, but onto fish, poisson, if there's anything interesting going on with the fish. Dragon Lair, what's going on, man? How's it going? Good to see you. Do I keep different species of gobies together? So, alright, we got a couple questions coming in, and we'll start. You line them up, I'll knock them down. Alright, so, as for gobies, if they're Stiphodon species, I think they all go together really well. None of them are going to successfully breed for you, unfortunately. I mean, you really need that salt water for that to happen, because when they're born, they're literally the size of like a human sperm cell, which is the smallest cell in the human body. Well, if you're a guy. Never mind, I could have said something else. But yes, it's the smallest cell, whereas the female egg in a human body is like one of the biggest cells. And so the gobies, they lay such tiny eggs that they're like larval. They go out to sea and they're smaller than plankton even at first, and then they work their way up to eating plankton. Before that, they're eating like single cell organisms, and it's kind of a mystery. Nobody's been able to follow the little babies. I mean, we've sampled water and found that there are Stiphodon larvae in there, but they need that full salinity, like within 24 hours of hatching. And then they need that full fresh water when they hatch. The eggs only take 12 to 24 hours to hatch. So you've got some really crazy dynamics going on that are like feast and famine, like based on the monsoons and based on seasonal like thunderstorms and rainstorms, like washing out gullies and things in the Pacific Islands. And so, yes, while they're pretty hardy as adults, and they can go from salt water right back up into fresh water, and they can live in, low oxygen, or they can live in, I mean, they like high oxygen, they're going to look way better. But, I mean, they can live, in theory, they can live in a wide variety of parameters. And the females, if we take a look here, the females really do look pretty similar in a lot of species, unless they're spawning. So here we have the birdsong ones, and we've got one female who's got, her belly is full of eggs. So she may have 2,000 eggs in her belly. It's been recorded up to 10,000 eggs in one of these 2-inch fish. So that would tell you how small the eggs are. But she will turn a bright, like, rusty red. And the males usually have that same stripe down the side. But then these are the blue, the metallic or neon blue Stiphodons. And then we also have some neon gold ones in here. We also have the true freshwater bumblebee gobies. These ones you can spawn in freshwater, but they just need infusoria. But here's one of those birdsong gobies, the Cerufus gobies. You can see that red line down the side. He's not showing off super prominent, but they turn as red as the cherry shrimp sometimes. And over here, They see me. They know I'm around. Over here, I also have the neon golden ones, Stiphodon somewhere. They tend to hide. We've got, oh, here he is right here. So this is one of the male, come on, focus. And you can see he's got like a really interesting pattern right now. This is, no, never mind, this is a Palawan riffle goby. So this one's got the black, like weird dark banding, and his yellow tail has actually turned black, whereas his head is still this metallic turquoise. You can kind of see that color reflecting. Like, it's really hard to get on camera, but it turns from like a copper or bronze color all the way to like bright, brilliant turquoise that like shimmers in the tank. And I've just got the weakest, crappy night crew light on here right now that's taken a few dips into the tank. So I would say though, yeah, put your gobies together if they're Stiphodons. If they're not Stiphodons, if you've got something like, let's see if our lipstick gobies are out in here. If you've got something like lipstick gobies or big schismatogobius, something like that, then I wouldn't put them. I wouldn't put them in with the little Stiphodons or whatnot. The schismatogobius is another smaller one, the little dragon, Taiwanese dragon gobies that burrow in the sand, and I have some in here with Stiphodons, but they need live food, whereas these Stiphodons, they only eat biofilm for the most part. Here's a nice red one right here. Well, color's hard to get with all the glare and lights and stuff, but you guys have seen pictures of them. And then back there we've got the cobalt blue female, and then the neon gold, or neon blue, I don't know which one it is, female. But the females have the stripes down the side and the duller color. And then these guys see, he thinks I'm going to feed him, so he's getting more and more red as we're hanging out here. And it's weird because, like I said, they eat biofilm. So I put food in the tank and they get all excited and red, same with water changes. But they're not eating anything I put in the tank. They just look at it. So it's very odd. Let's see here. Takari, hello. Thanks for the surprise. Wanted to ask, I'm ordering 2 plecos for algae tank. Oh, the Blue Seam Starlight pleco, the L183, and the L144. Though, so that's the lemon pleco. Long fin plus Gara flavata. Will they fight? You have a 2-foot 20-gallon tank, so you have a 20 long. So I would say that the Gara flavata, if anything, the Panda Garas, they're going to be your most likely to fight. The 2 plecos, they'll mind their own business, and unless they're taking turns trying to take over a cave that's in contention. I've got plecos in here right now, and right now I've got those lemon plecos, the long fin lemon plecos. I'm right in here in this cave. We've got one of them. We've got a female right in here. Come on. She's in there. And we've got some green dragons. We've also got the really white platinum ones. I don't know what they really are. They're not all platinum, so I really don't know what in the heck they are. But compared to the lemons are more buttercream to actual yellow when they're born, the 144s. And I've got a short fin and a long fin. But some of the babies came out like uber platinum. But yeah, so I would say that they would fight before your plecos. Like up here, you can see they're all just munching away at the algae. Up here, we've got the big female lemon pleco. She's not real yellow right now because she's at the top of the water and she's not feeding, like, frantically feeding or trying to impress the male, who's usually, I don't know where he is. But yeah, they'll get along fine. Just give them enough caves. I like to say put 1.5 times as many caves as there are individual plecos in your tank if you can. The other thing is sometimes plecos, they don't want their cave. They want like a ledge that hangs over like this. So see how these lemon pleco juveniles that are growing out? They much prefer, at this age I've noticed, they prefer the leaning ledge with like kind of an undercut and some vegetation, and I don't know why, but that's where they hang out. They hang out close to that, and then they can kind of feed on the rocks and dart back under. But these ones are my best of the lemon plecos. So you can see these ones are downright like orange creamsicle color, short fins. All right, let's see here. When will I have rice fish available? I should have some rice fish, hopefully. I mean, I have rice fish now. It's just I want to get enough breeding that bird attacks and things don't knock me out of commission like they did last season. So we've got, I mean, I've got the platinum rice fish. I've got the Yohiki rice fish, the creamsicle looking ones, and I've got some orange ones. But I think I'm buying some this week from Aquatic Arts, has some new blue ones. And I really want to get a hold of those and maybe cross them with the red caps I had. We'll see. Also, just since you guys didn't get a look at these very well last time, this is the female balloon ram, German blue ram. She's an electric blue balloon ram. They were at Petco and they were on sale, and almost all of them were dead out of like 30. So I rescued, out of the few surviving ones left, I rescued 2, a male and a female that looked strongest. And I mean, literally none of them looked like they were going to make it, but I think these 2 are going to be okay. They've colored up, and it looks like I did get a male and a female, so that's good. But I just felt bad. I mean, I feel like, am I encouraging that by buying them, or do they just need a home like ASAP, and it doesn't really matter who buys them at that point? They're already at the store. You know, it's just kind of, ethically, it's a hard one. Do Kuliloches ever become less shy? When they're full grown, a little bit, but mostly work on feeding them at night. When it's dark, or if you've got like a red or blue light on your tank so that it's dim, it's just not white light. And then you can try feeding them something like bloodworms or blackworms. It's their favorite. And a lot of times they'll come out in the day, or at night, I mean, to feed. And if you start that habit at like 2 in the morning or 4 a.m. or, you know, like, it's kind of an unhandy time unless you're a night owl or work the night shift. But you can definitely train them to know food is coming then, and they'll kind of, especially if you have hiding spots. People a lot of times don't give their Kuliloches enough hiding spots, and same with like Stiphodon and things like that. Other gobies, they think, oh, if I put a bunch of rocks in there, I'll never see my gobies. They're just gonna hide, and nothing could be further from the truth, because what these guys do all day long in the wild is they hide between rocks. I mean, in between all these rocks, we've got little dens of, I mean, because there's, what, 13 or 14 gobies in here altogether. And so they've got these little dens, and they come out and they explore, and then they need to feel like they can dart right back into their den. I mean, a lot of the day, there's 7, 8 of them right on that rock in the middle where there's that female grazing. And you guys saw them all out earlier, but that kind of makes them feel safe if you've got that set up for them. Also, you know, the other thing with Kuliloches and any shy fish, getting them some dither fish is a really good idea. And by dither fish, if you don't know what I mean getting them some fish that are just kind of laid back and easygoing and small. So like some Rasboras, or even some little Endler, male Endlers. Or shrimp for that matter. And then little Danios, not big Danios. Like some Danios will just decimate them. Pandaloches are a really good one. They're never shy in my experience. These guys are the most friendly little guys ever. I finally did clean off the front of this tank, even though I'd been hesitating for so long. So now I can see them, and obviously they're all over, climbing all over. These guys are going on 2 years old now, this colony, and there's 9 of them right now in here, and you can see the shrimp are doing great with them. But yeah, like a tank like this setup, little 10-gallon, would do really well for your Kuliloches, because you got these low rocks. You've got spots they can hide, but you can kind of still see them. When you got low rocks and then gravel, you can kind of see them. And if you do that, over time, they kind of get used to, like, oh, nobody's going to come and eat me. Whoa, this guy caught a shrimp. Did anybody catch that? See if he comes back. He got a pregnant mama shrimp. Oh man, bummer. So this is a golden dwarf cichlid. This is a Nanacara. And you can see, is it a she? Yeah, it looks like a she. Caught a shrimp and ate it. It's got its babies right in it. She hasn't killed it yet, so let's see if we can actually get her to let go of it. Nope, into her den. Okay. Well, at least she'll finish it in the den. And if you guys didn't know, last week these guys had white dots on them all over. We didn't know if it was ick or velvet or whatever. My Valiant Gouramis or Samurai or Rainbow Gouramis, whatever you want to call them. Or some people call them just another type of chocolate gourami. But you can see how much better they're doing. The algae's bloomed a little bit in here, but they're doing a lot better. I don't know why these shrimp are so dumb with the cichlids in here. There's just so many of the malawas. Let's see. I know I missed another question. Let's see what we got going on here. Banana plants. Sally Ball's brother says, oh, now it's just Sally Balls. Let's see here. Are they underappreciated? They grow like a Nubius, fight off brown algae, and have a sweet Kelly green color. Yeah, they're cool. But they die off at a certain point, and then they kind of turn black and rot, and they can make quite a bit of ammonia. But other than that, as long as you yank them when their time is up, which really depends on temperature and flow and nutrients, you know, they're a fine plant. They're a little on the pricey side for one that doesn't really self-propagate that well. Rico Stan, what's going on, buddy? And John Bobon, what's up? Euros Page, Laura Sutton. We got all sorts of folks coming in here. I'm guessing the question of will they eat baby shrimp? My cherry reds have been disappearing at random. Your Amano are still alive, but the cherry red's more sensitive. Well, the cherry reds, the babies stand out. Neocaridina babies just stand out so much stronger. I mean, even the blues that kind of blend in, you can see planaria. There's a big old planaria. And I don't mind the little planaria in here. The panda loaches love planaria. In fact, you guys, if you watch my channel, this is not new, but you've seen the tricks. So these guys are all up on the rocks pretty much right now. Well, watch what happens when I kick up all the planaria for them. They get a little bit shy, like, what are you doing with the turkey baster of death, of doom, of life? The turkey baster of life, that's what we'll call it. And you can see, like, I'm actually sucking up the large planaria, the adult planaria, with the turkey baster. And once in a while, like, when you stun the planaria with a spurt of water, they turn into these little discs. And then they start swimming once they get near something that they can grab onto, like a plant or the wall. And because of all this, when they get into the little disc, they become bite-sized for the panda loaches. So even though this looks gross, and obviously it's only about 1.5 inches deep, so it's not a cycled substrate per se. It's not like a deep substrate that's stratified. Now the panda loaches have all this malmy detritus worms and lots of planaria babies, which we don't really see the babies, but they kick them up. And plus it disrupts the den of the planaria, because planaria will form these gross colonies, and they make kind of like a snot ball or spit ball under the substrate, and then if you've got sand, it'll stick together, and they make these little burrows that way. But you can see we've got teeny tiny little shrimp in here swimming around, like up at the top there. I mean, brand new baby shrimp. And I can't say it enough. I've never seen, and I sit here and watch these little puppy dogs play all day, and they never ever touch even the little teeny babyest shrimp in all the panda loaches I've kept. And these ones are full adults too. These are the northern fork ones that don't get as, some get kind of cream, tan, and light brown color instead of black and white. But the northern part northern collection point in the river, they stay more of this chain link pattern or zigzag pattern, checkerboard pattern. Whereas there are some that will turn like that color, like this off yellowy kind of color. And a lot of people don't like that, and so a lot of people give them away or stop caring for them as well. But yeah, yeah, I do have dirted tanks, definitely. If you haven't watched the channel, I've got lots of videos on it too. In that, like, this tank has no filtration in it. The heater's in here, but it's not on. And there's Hillstream species in here, believe it or not. And then this is another dirted or soil tank. This one's dirt and gravel and sand. And then in the other room, these are both soil. This one's Amazonia. Ooh, look at the male. He's out. We'll try to sneak up on him. He's looking real bright. He's been definitely showing off for the female. There he goes. There's the female up there. But there's the lemon pleco with the big onodontodes. He's probably going on 4 years now, I would guess. He's one of the... I think he is the first pleco I ever bought from Aquatic Arts. Ken says, Alex, my rice fish eggs have been constantly getting infected with fungus. Right now I've lowered the pH with tannins and have them lifted off the bottom. Besides methylene blue, is there anything else I can do? You know, Ken, that's a really rough one. I highly recommend what you're doing, though. The tannins and acidity, that's the way to go. In nature, that's the best antifungal there is dropping the pH. Fungus is very particular about the pH it has, and also it's fairly particular about the food it's consuming. Unfortunately, in the form of fungus that's on the eggs, they love lipids and protein, and so they're eating the fat coating of the cell membrane and the lipid, or the protein, sorry, of the actual like yolk in the egg once the mycelium drills through the cell membrane. So that pH is really the best natural way to do it. Now, the other thing I would recommend is water movement before the fact. Fungus needs a place to kind of calmly chill. If there is a power head or water moving, it can establish. Now, the other trick is to actually get more fungus species into your aquarium. This is a little tricky, and it's not... You don't really know if you're doing it right until it happens. But essentially, you know, you've got one tank in your control. If you know somebody who has a very healthy tank, you know for a fact they don't have parasites or anything, and they have a tank that's a year or two old, and they're having better luck with their stuff, I mean, you can always ask for a gallon of water, and that's going to, you know, introduce all the bacteria, infusoria, seed shrimp, anything that's in that tank can then be seeded into your tank. And essentially, the more biodiversity you have, the less of a chance the fungus that's eating those eggs has to take over. But I definitely feel your pain lately, as when I move this new house, I think it's the fact that I drained the tank so low and then did like a 95% water change on most of them. Again, here's another very deep substrate tank. It's 9 inches at the height right here. But there's a whole video on this. It's called Deep Substrate, Anaerobic, Anoxic, and Aerobic Substrate. So it's basically a layer that gets a little bit of oxygen, but not much, a layer that's so deep it doesn't get any, and then a layer that gets constant oxygen on the top inch. And then there's also like a lasagna network of pipes and a mesh and then lava rock that is porous that I can then plug in a plenum or a filter down through in a little cave outlet of that. Let's see here. What else do we have going on? How many rocket killies should I get from your 20 gallon? So rocket killies, literally, they don't, I mean, as long as the water quality is good. Boy, I look crazy. I look like the guy from what's his name? From the Royal Tannenbaums, the Owen Wilson with the headband thing, or Luke Wilson. I don't know. They're the same person. So in any case, the what was I saying about You know what? These cichlids over here, they're mocking me. They're like out playing mid-water. Right there, mid-water, playing as soon as I leave the side of the tank. And then as soon as I go over there, they're like, oh, we're so scared. Also, just a little quick update while I see them. The baby Caridina shrimp have done really well. The adults, honestly, I killed them. I did not do well with the 4 blue jades that Aquatic Arts sent me. And that's why I didn't buy a bunch of them. But the crystal shrimp, they're doing well. They're over 2 months now in this tank. And they're still all the baby ones or adolescent ones that I was sent, which I basically asked for those. And then also from Priscilla of Swiss Aquatics. You can't see them very well. I need to get, hold on, we can get a light on here. These guys, let's see if we can, oops, I just knocked the thing off the rim. But these guys, wow, they're blasted with light when I did that. That's probably not the best plan. Like this, hold on, we're tangled. Don't get dizzy. Close your eyes for a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Ladles and jelly spoons. All right. There we go. So let's take a look up here. Nobody's peeked around up here for freaking weeks. These are the tanks that run themselves. This is the little guppy tank of all my reject guppies that, you know, there's some fire and ice, there's some tuxedos. There is a top golden top minnow that wouldn't grow for some reason. And then in here, let's see if we can get the little shrimpies. You can see the little shrimp, the babies. This is my hatchery tank. It's not the best that there's planaria in here. I use Bacter AE, and I didn't think that the Bacter AE would really cause a planaria bloom, but sure enough, it definitely did. I mean, I can say for sure that that's what did it. So they came out to eat the mulm and all that stuff. So I'm just sucking up planaria real quick. You know, now we've got them all floating in here into the waste bucket. But yeah, so the shrimp are all doing well. Check out all these least killifish that I moved that hatched out. Now these ones are live born. I got these from Aquatic Arts too, and these are going to go outside very soon. I think there's 15 in here. And there's also the green jade shrimp in here that I got, I don't know, a year and a half ago from Aquatic Arts. Now, I've kept them in this 2.5 gallon to see if they would ever kick off as a colony in that small of a space. And there are exactly 8, which is how many I had before, that I bought of the green shrimp. They still look like great quality green shrimp. They've had babies, but they just don't seem to be flourishing in such a small tank. So the answer is for Neocaridina, I think a bigger tank is definitely merited. But here you can see there's some, you can see the other crystal, come on focus, the other crystal shrimp back here. More planaria, man, they look ginormous because of the reflection on, oh, well, and you're seeing snails and all sorts of other things too. But they look ginormous. The other thing about planaria, if you get them in a turkey baster, turn it sideways and let it chill for a minute, and then just squeeze the water out, they'll hold on to the sides when they feel flow. They think they're getting sucked into a fish's mouth or something, and they'll hold on to the sides. So then you just need to take a little bit more water, make sure you don't suck up any of the baby shrimp, and then just kind of shake it around. Boom, that'll make them let go of it, and now they're free. But there's that. Also, these guys need to go outside soon. These are the white cloud or meteor minnows. Some call them Vietnamese white clouds, or meteor minnows is, I guess, probably the more common name. And there's the golden variety that exists too. Also, we've got some of the platinum rice fish that hatch. But, you know, I was dealing with fungus too, so I would recommend, that's what I was going to say earlier, I would recommend in the hatching tank where the parents are, definitely put all sorts of hornwort and moss, stuff that floats at the top, because you're going to get algae instead of fungi growing in that more often than not. And then when that happens, you're a lot less likely to get it on the eggs. Also, depending on how you get them out of there, you know, don't wash your hands with soap, because the soap can be corrosive and an issue to any baby fish eggs, or just dunking them in your tank. But if you're just using your hand and reaching into a tank to get out. Also, oh, I forgot to show you guys these. These are the short-nosed algae-eating shrimp. These are going on 3 years now. Are you pregnant also, little lady? I think my yellow shrimp in here are pregnant also. So with these meteor minnows, there's no way I'm ever going to get more than just 1 or 2 babies out of my yellow shrimp, my Neocaridina in here. But when they're pregnant, what I can do is move them over, and it doesn't matter what Neocaridina tank I put them in. We've got a pregnant female right here. See her with all those eggs? And look at all the mulm in this tank. This tank's just totally gone to the dogs. It's fine though. But as long as the nitrates stay down, you're pretty much good. But yeah, so I recommend wash your hands with just water. And then when you're in the tanks grabbing out things, make sure you get the eggs that, you know, like are up on stuff like this, or if you've got, this works really well, putting moss around a pipe of some sort and then hanging it over the tank, because then when you pull it up, it's just really easy to peel back. It kind of lays down in rows, which is really, really handy. Oh, I missed a super chat. Hold on. I'm blabbing away, and I missed the super chat. T-Bone, thank you so much. Alex, roughly how long does it take for juvenile fish to start coloring up? I ended up with juvenile black ruby barbs instead of adult barbs. Barbs can take a while, as long as you're feeding them well and they have enough room to exercise their muscles and grow, though. And as long as they have enough protein. In the case of barbs are a little bit omnivorous, but they like protein a lot. So as long as they're getting that protein that they need to grow, and they have enough room, and I would say for those, probably a 20-gallon or more is fine. I mean, ideally you want more than that, but even as little as a 20 long would be enough for them to grow out. And that will give them enough room to grow out. So just keep giving them high protein. Obviously, you don't want the protein to build up in the water and then cause, you know, a film. But if you give them room to run in like a 40 breeder or something too, they will tend to grow faster. And that's true with most shrimp and fish in general. It's not always true, but they do grow a bit faster when they have the room to stretch out. Like my Danios in here are 1/2 inch longer, my lake inlay species, than the Danios up in here. Sorry, the reflection is horrendous in there. You guys can just look at me. And it's really hot in here today. It's like 80-some degrees. Sally Balls, brother, we got another super chat. I've got bugs living on top of my Salvinia. Black spots that look like translucent spiders when they're floating on the water. That is odd. The white little bugs that jump around, those are very common. Those are just little Daphnia type things. Water fleas, which we call so many things water fleas in this hobby. It's pretty disingenuous. But fish will eat those. Fish do eat those, the little jumping white bugs. The black ones, I have seen those in my water, in giant water lettuce before, like these, but when they get really big. And I've also seen aphids. So I'm pretty sure that they're actually a mite. If you've ever grown, you know, orchids or cannabis or any sort of tropical or subtropical plants that like humidity and like high heat and high light, you'll notice that mites and rot, but mites are very common. And you know, I think I even saw, I think I cleared them out of here. I think I even had some of what you were talking about going on right in this one. Right there. They have these little babies that were in the little folds there. So I haven't sweated it. They don't seem to damage things too much. But I mean, with mites, you can literally just sink them, or you could take all the floating plants out. You could submerge everything completely underwater, like fill a bucket so that it's sunk underwater. And most of the mites, believe it or not, even if they're hanging on the top of the water, they're used to that surface tension. They are not aquatic bugs. They're like water striders. They don't do well. They don't dive down in the water. They're not meant to do that. So that'll kill them. If that fails, you can always use a bit of vinegar dilution or a bit of hydrogen peroxide, I suppose. Also, Laura Sutton, hello, $2.99 super pair. I appreciate that quite a bit. Do you know if rummy nose Rasbora eggs are adhesive? I believe that they are not. If I recall, they might stick like to plants a little bit. I can't remember if under a microscope they have hairs, but they definitely don't like lay them on glass or rocks. They definitely settle in the aquarium. I've raised them, but it's been probably 4 years. Oh, rummy nose Rasboras. Yeah. They're not adhesive, I don't believe. Because I was thinking rummy nose Tetras in my head, but I think they're both the same, pretty much. The rummy nose Tetras, I think, are slightly sticky on plants, like Velcro almost. Boy, these leaf killies, these guys are growing out quickly, and there's just so many in there. So in any case, let's put this light back on the poor Pseudomagil luminatus. And obviously you can see what a big gap I've got on this tank between the lid or the opening. I don't like closing my tanks. I like the sound. I like the oxygen exchange, the gas exchange. I'm growing these air plants up here, and I don't want to close it off. I like the feel of it open. The humidity does get a bit overbearing in here sometimes, and I feel like I should be, I've got a dehumidifier right here that I change every 12 hours. But I feel like I want to utilize that. Also, I want to set up another small tank under here, and I want to set up, or change the way these tanks are rearranged. There's some baby guppies up in here. In both of these, this is a blackwater tank, and this is a, which I know sounds weird for guppies. So there's high tannins, but also high minerality, and the pH is neutral. So it's not really true blackwater. It's like a high tannin, high TDS tank. And then this is green water, but it just looks like milky water because it gets only natural light kind of reflecting all throughout the room. But this is where all the scuds are living right now, and I take the scuds and I feed any of my Schismatogobius are all carnivorous. They don't seem to eat anything but little insects and crustaceans. So when they're out hunting, you guys have seen that video probably, but I've got videos of them hunting down scuds, and they're pretty cool to watch. They look like little dragons, obviously, hence the name, micro dragons. Having a sip of the Dr. Pepper, still not paying me. Someday, maybe. Then we got the little lowboy. Oh, the killifish. I forgot to answer your question. I'm so sorry. So with the clown killies or rocket killies, honestly, a tank like this is great. Like a lowboy, or even like a Rubbermaid, like for shoes, like the storage containers, like Uline or Rubbermaid or Tupperware. You don't need to see the edges so much, but they have very, very tiny eggs. So usually with those, what you'll do is you'll literally fill however deep the tank is completely with moss right below the surface so that they barely have room to move, not on plants. That'll keep the parents away from the eggs long enough that they'll either fall through or they'll sit on the moss. You can also use peat. They tend to like some acidity. I think those ones are originally from Liberia, so they don't come from like super tannic waters like some of the South American and Southeast Asian fish, but nevertheless, they do live in jungles and have that kind of issue. Let's see here. Hey, Jackie, welcome. And T-Bone, yeah, no problem, man. Rachel L., welcome. Riddick the first, what's up? Do you know if dwarf gouramis will get along with each other? So powder blue dwarf gouramis, the females get along with each other smashingly. They're great. By the way, the Nanochromis down there, they moved from the big house to the little house. And I'm hoping that maybe they'll spawn. They're both in there. Last I checked, last time I looked. But still, it's been a mystery. I can't get them to frickin' spawn. And she's so eggy. She's got like a big old egg belly right now. She's like ready to pop. She's got so many eggs in her. And she keeps doing the dance for the male. I'm wondering if the male's infertile or something. Because her ovipositor's even out. I mean, come on. What more can I do for you? Come on, sweetie. Yeah, gouramis, let's go over here. Zero water filter. Yeah, I had no water filter on a couple of my tanks. Correct. If you got enough plants, that's fine. A little bit of... Oh, check out the size of this goby. He never comes out. I don't know why he's out. This is the red-tailed goby. The Rhinogobius, I believe, is the class that he's in. But way different league. Got him from Aquatic Arts. They sent me him for free. And he's been in this tank, but for size, I mean, he is very large. Well, that didn't really help to show you guys size. But to show you, these are full-grown guppies. And those are pencil fish that are about 2 inches long. So he's probably 5 inches long and fairly thick and a predator. He will try to eat these guys even, the Ember Tetras, which is kind of surprised me when it happened. But yeah, the females, if they don't have any red on them, if they're just pure powder blue, the powder blue dwarf gouramis or the sunset dwarf gouramis or the honey dwarf gouramis, honey and sunset, so any yellow gourami that are dwarf, both genders are fine. They'll be peaceful. When you get to opal gouramis or pearl gouramis, don't mess with them if you're worried about aggression. When you get to the powder blue dwarfs, the males are very aggressive when with females. Sometimes you can do all males, or you can do a group of females that outnumber the males a little bit. And they work out, they work out okay sometimes, but the problem is they need to focus on each other as a species. And sometimes they'll do that, but other times they'll go after other fish. So a big fish like this, and this is a reticulated Siamese algae eater. Very different than the kind with the line, very different than the flying fox. This is a very specific Siamese algae eater from Thailand and Indonesia and Malaysia, found in a bunch of rivers. But it's got the yellow fin on top, yellowish green, and the diamond on the tail with no line. And red to orange eye. And these guys are pretty peaceful. They'll fight each other, the males will, but they can get very big. And so they serve as a de-escalating fish in that, those cichlids in the other room won't try to fight them. They know that they're big enough that they're going to hold their own. And they're very muscular. They can really zoom across the tank. And you can see it's still eating algae even as an adult, which none of the other ones actually do dependably. Now, sparkling gouramis are they're considered gourami, sparkling and croaking gouramis, as well as licorice gouramis, which I've got the sparkling and croaking in here. Those are both dwarf gouramis also, but they are mean as little teeny predators. They're going to eat your shrimp like there's no tomorrow. But they are very kind to other fish. It's just crustaceans, invertebrates, and fry from other fish. They can be pretty raw. And here you can see we got a male attracting a female, doing a little dance. And then also my pencil fish, the female of the Beckfordi pencil fish, she's nice golden color, hanging out with this other female. And the males are a delightful champagne color right now. Of kind of like this peach color compared to her. Hard to see right now. Well, you can kind of see it here with the blue fins. So I really want to get them their own tank so I can get her to spawn, maybe egg scatter a bit. So we'll see what happens. Let's see here. John Boban, me my momon. How often do heaters break? They break frequently enough that if you have a fish room, get a good one. A good one, it's all... see, now all the gobies are out. Remember how I said giving them hiding spots actually doesn't make them hide, it makes them come out more? These guys all have spots they can duck down into. That was a cobalt blue one back there. And here's another cobalt blue female. And then back under here we got the bird songs out again. The bird songs are really friendly. I don't know why. Also the Borneo Hillstream Loach is out. I've got a couple more of these, but you can... Oh, maybe you missed it. But he's got a really beautiful blue tail that I didn't realize that was a trait they had. Also, you can see here is the neon yellow. Hard to zoom in on that at the angle, but bright metallic yellow reflection on there. What was I gonna say though about heaters? So what you want generally is these opaque ones. So get the Pro series usually, and these opaque ones, they're not glass and they don't have the numbers on them. They've got a setting up top and they've got a light to indicate whether they're just holding steady with power. So green's holding steady, red is going up in temperature, yellow or orange is like out of sync. And these ones are about $35 US. These are the Aquarium professional grade. Had good luck with these. Also, I've had good luck with the Fluval. Now, this is an older model with the chrome, but the newer models are that matte, kind of like the one up here again. And they come in 50 to 300 watts. And the problem with most heaters is not anything other than the fact that they will just get stuck on. It's that the thermostat breaks in them. So you can also buy a temperature thermostat if you have a bigger tank or a tank with some expensive or fish that you like value emotionally more than others. I mean, maybe you do it to all your fish, but I can't afford it. But if you have some you care about, so like my loaches, I have one of those Fluval tanks in there, but I also have a line running in back over there that it looks like this, the end of the sensor, and that is it's hooked up to a thermostat that's hooked up into the power port. And so then that power sensor down there with all those heaters plugged into the power strip, which I know you're not supposed to do, but there's this box. And so if that box gets over 82 degrees, it cuts the power. So all the power goes off. You can buy those online. They're just called thermostats, remote thermostats. So if you're really worried about certain tanks, get those, or don't put a heater in it and heat the room. This room is pretty much heated now. I just wasn't sure on how things were going to be in total. And so I wanted to make sure that I had several different things worked out for how to control things in here. And yeah, so that was how it worked out. Also, what was I gonna say? Alex, can I keep these juvenile barbs with adult barbs? Because I have them in a separate tank at the moment. I got them in a 10-gallon, and they're that small. I mean, I would put one in and watch them for a half hour and see if you get any chasing. Then I wouldn't. But I don't think it's an issue, really. I think you'll be okay. Now, what's interesting about this is we can actually see this heater. This is the kind I don't like. This is an older one that I happen to have put in here. You can see the water, see how it's getting heated, and you can see the actual convection of the water, the like wavy lines going off. These glass ones have, for some reason, they used to have mercury in them too, but now they have coils that expand, and that's what tells them the temperature. And then it expands to a certain point, it completes a circuit. And so what you do is you're sliding a tension bar or rod on that coil, and so you're basically, it just looks like two prongs, and you have basically a band that goes across them, and depending on the band, how high it is, it gets closer and closer. And then when it gets hot, the metal gets more malleable, so that band tightens up and it creates a circuit. So then you're able to on off. So as it gets cold, it then it goes away, and then that band touches again because it's spread apart, and either side of the band, represented as this finger in the V, complete the circuit, if that makes any sense. Sorry about that. Hey, Mary. Yeah, I would give it a shot, T-Bone. If I don't know what other barbs you have with them, that like how aggressive they are. I know Odessa barbs and things can be a bit mean sometimes, but I mean, if you've just got other black and red or black ruby barbs, or something like that, you're probably gonna be okay. Hey, here's the other Borneo loach with the two. Look at her. Look at her ovipositor is so out. She's like ready to have babies last week, and he's just being a bum hanging out in their den. Get it together, boy. You guys are going extinct in the wild. You need to work it out. He's not very colorful either at the moment. Last thing, let's see here. Would 6 Ember Tetras in an 8.7 gallon with Neos and Snails be overstocked? No. Ember Tetras are fine. I think you're good. Let's see here. 0 water filter. For TDS removal. Let's see here. Oh, you're getting a ram. If you have German blue rams and things, they are very sensitive to water parameters. I would not keep them in a filterless tank ever. The kind of fish that you keep in a filterless tank, Gouramis, bettas, cyprinids, actually Corydoras do pretty well. Some loaches. You can do filterless, but you need water movement and oxygen for hill stream species. There's that Borneo, of course he goes away again. Guppies you can do without filtration. You know, in the 1950s and 60s, no one had filters with their guppies. So like this tank here, I've got CPDs, erythromicrons, which yes, they can hybridize, but no, they aren't really laying any eggs in here. Then I've also got elastomas from the United States. And then I've also got least killifish. This is where the least killifish live, that those babies up top are from. At night, I pull them out. And some shrimp. This has no heater in it, and no, the filter hasn't been on forever. For a long time. And yeah, it just has lots of plants. And if you don't have, I mean, watch my video on filterless tanks if you want the details on that. Same here, like this has the heater in it, but there's important caveats to that. Like you need a decent substrate, you need decent light, you still need to do water changes and things like that. If you smell a rotten or dead sewery smell at all ever with filterless tanks, something's going wrong. I have a video called "What's That Smell?" or "Why Does My Tank Smell Bad?" And those are, they'll go over all the different smells. Like if it smells like rotten eggs or sulfur, what that means, what's going on. Or if you have the smell of like poop or waste, what that is. Or if you have other smells. Ooh, this is a nice neon gold Stiphodon. The one with the really long name, the let's see here. What fish would do fine in a 8.75 gallon without killing my shrimp or tetras? Rocket killifish or clown killifish will do fine. I have a video called 20 fish that can live with shrimp safely, including baby shrimp. And I mean, you've got choices. Stiphodons are okay. They will eat some baby shrimp, some types. But any of the biofilm types of Stiphodons, they won't touch any of your shrimp, which is nice. So the neon blue, the cobalt, the Palawan riffle Stiphodon, the what other ones? I mean, there's a selection, a decent selection of Stiphodon species that stay pretty small. The only thing with those is you do need to keep the water quality up. You do need like an air sponge filter and a hang off the back, or a good hang off the back, or a power head. In the species profile, you can find out if you want to go through the trouble. That being said, things like these panda loaches are supposed to have extreme aeration, and I've slowly backed it off over the months and years to the point where now they have one sponge filter and very minimal water changes, and they're doing great. They're super healthy and happy. Um, but I would say in that small of a tank, you could do an auto sinkless, or another great one that you could do would be like chili rasboras, phoenix rasboras, strawberry rasboras. Those are all great ones. Maybe harlequin rasboras. The main thing is you want to give them hiding spots. Give the shrimp a rock pile like this, but smaller rocks, but with the crevices and a few layers thick, like 3 layers thick, and then they can crawl in there and hide, or cholla wood, or just really dense plants. That will give them, I mean, in here you can see I've got shrimp in here all over, and they're with some meat-eating gobies also, as well as the rainbow fish. So there's exceptions, and there's like for instance, the bumblebee gobies, they will eat the baby shrimp, but they're just very slow metabolisms. They're very slow and steady, so will they eat your baby shrimp? Maybe a couple, but they're not going to eat like 30 of them. So there's also like your tolerance. Like if your shrimp tank has been going for a while, then you're probably, okay. Another option could be like least killifish. They're very small. They only get an inch at max. I mean, there was just an adult cruising by here, but they only get an inch long max. Some only get half an inch long, the males. And they're pretty chill. The Axelrodi Sunda Danios, which are actually Rasboras, those are the blue, neon red, and neon green Rasboras. Those are another good one that will get along with shrimp okay. Let's see, what else do I have off the top of my head? I don't know, that should give you a good start. Let's see here. T-Bone says, I have green barbs, golden barbs, tiger barbs, but they range from 3 to 5 centimeters. They were juveniles only, about half to 1 centimeter. Oh, they are tiny. Man, I would wait until they're at least 1.5 centimeters to 2 centimeters. 2 centimeters. Yeah, I'd wait till they're 2 centimeters before I put them in. Cherry barbs, gold barbs, those are going to be probably the meanest ones, I would guess, out of the ones you just mentioned. Your green Odessas, I'm guessing green Odessas, those, or green tigers, they're and tiger barbs in general are actually pretty chill. They will attack like shrimp and stuff like that, but baby fish, I've had them not even bother guppy fry. As long as there's enough of them. The thing is, like, fish like to mess with their own species before other species frequently. So it really gives incentive for you to have, 5, 6, 8 of a species, so that it diffuses that energy, that sexual tension and stuff is within the species, honestly. I knew it was hot in here. Gosh, my thermostat out here in the coolest room says, I don't know, can you guys see that? It says 78, and then the humidity's really high. Man, I need to open doors in here. Sorry about this, folks. We get another super chat. Gosh darn it, you guys are just too kind. Let's see here. Donnie the Wolf got a run. Enjoyed watching Alex. Love these random live events and you showing your tanks and just talking fish. Can't wait for the next one. Well, the next one's tomorrow. So I'll definitely be doing that. Tomorrow I got to go pick up, I think it's going to be around 4 or 5 p.m. LA time, Pacific time zone. But I need to go pick up a chainsaw and a wheelbarrow and a rake that my uncle's gonna loan me tomorrow because I'm gonna work on my wife's garden, doing some raised beds and stuff and cutting down a couple limbs off some trees. So tomorrow's going to be kind of a weird, busy day, but I have fish news you can't use pretty much ready. All the science articles from the month, from the last month, and I always like that segment. I think people have fun with that one. Um, let's see here. Chris Davidson says my bumblebee gobies won't eat frozen bloodworms. That's interesting. Um, Usually they will if they're hungry enough. Are they fresh frozen bloodworms? And are they broken into pieces, smaller than the length of the fish? Because that's the other thing. They have to fit in the mouth. And I know a lot of bloodworms are like 2 or 3 times longer than those little half-inch fish. So you can take a knife and cut up your bloodworms into little pieces. But sometimes they get freezer burned and no fish wants to eat them if they're too freezer burned or oxygenated, whatever, oxidized. But also scarlet batis. Yes, you can put scarlet batis in a huge group if you want. In fact, if you have more than two or three, so you can either do a pair or a trio. That works fine. You can have a loner male, but only scarlet batis or red and black tiger batis. The only thing you don't want to do is have like 4, 5, 6 of them. That's pretty much the exact wrong amount, no matter what the gender breakup is, unless it's one male, all the rest females. So you want like 10 of them or like 2 or 3 of them, honestly. You can have one. I mean, it's totally doable, but they're not as active. They're not going to show off their color unless they see their own reflection in the glass, which in which case then they'll flare and show off their oomph. That's what's in the other tank too, with the least killies and with the erythromicrons and the CPDs in that low boy tank that I have. There is a pair of batis in there, and there's 2 pairs of elosomas, the blue banded Gulf Coast pygmy sunfish. However, both of those, the elosoma and the batis, are mean little fish for their size. And they will eat anything that fits in their mouth, and they behave exactly like Rift Lake cichlids, honestly, or Central American cichlids. Just tiny. So they don't have really teeth to do damage to anything other than little teeny things, but they do have little teeth. So they have serrated teeth for a reason, and it's not because they want to give you little kissies before bedtime. It's because they're jerks. Let's see here. What would you keep with the pistos in a 20 long? Well, what I am keeping with the pistos in the 20 long, pencilfish are great. Tetras are great. Pseudomagills work really well. Any rainbow fish pseudomagills, praecox rainbow fish, Ember Tetras, Kubota Rasboras, Neon Blue, Neon Green, Cardinal Tetras, Jelly Bean Tetras. Those are kind of a fun one. Any narrow-bodied Tetra, I like those a little bit more because they're a little quicker. Some people argue that the narrow-bodied, like rummy nose Tetras and things, I would say rummy nose are a little too big for a 20 long. You can have them. It's just the pistos might kind of get territorial for half the tank, so it only leaves about a foot for the rummy nose to cruise. And they're a schooling fish. They really school tightly. Rummy nose do, as do like reed tetras. So if you wanted a schooling fish, you could also get something like, if it's a tank that's deep enough in that, like a foot or more. So if it's a 20 long, I wouldn't do it. But if it's a 20 tall, I would do it, which is you could do like Phoenix Rasboras, Chili Rasboras. Now, those are so teeny that your pistos, yes, they can eat them, but generally out of sight, out of mind. Those hang out in upper to mid-level water, and the pistos are going to be in lower to mid-level water, kind of guarding their territory. And if you set them up with like sand and caves and dense foliage that goes all the way to the top, that's going to kind of keep the pistos down in the sand, rocks, and caves, and the other dither fish or community fish can kind of cruise in the loose foliage above. I mean, I kind of try to make sure that every tank I have is set up this way, in that there's pockets. Like back here, there's a pocket. There were apistos in here. There was a pocket for them, then there were sparkling gouramis. There's my longfin blue tetras. There's my Bickford pencil fish. There's my little plecos. And then I've also got my transvestitis cichlids in here. But they're hiding in the other little corner I made them. They're back there. But having plants that come all the way to the top, and then open area all the way to the top, and then hardscape that's almost all the way to the top, all these things really do help when you intentionally give them a spot to hide under cover, give them a spot to get up above these leaves. So from below, the apistos don't even know that they're around. Likewise, most fish have silver bellies or white bellies and darker tops. You'll notice that. And that is, even if you look at guppies, I mean, usually their belly from the very bottom looks silver. It's because fish looking up, they want them to blend in evolution-wise. They evolve to blend in with the sun. So if you got a light overhead, then your fish are going to blend into the light. The only thing that's going to make them not blend in is the body casts a shadow. But if you have leaves like this or like this, then the shadow isn't cast. Even if it's just moss, like up here. And then this, another thing you could get is a big plant like this, like a Logonandremi boldi or a Barclay longifolia. This is a Prince Kleiner sword, I believe. Or, a Prince Reuben sword, something like that. You can get that. And then the different fish hang out in the different leaves. As you peel them back, you'll discover, like, back there is one of my plecos. My leopard frog big daddy pleco is in there. And then the caves are all the way down at the bottom. And then all the looser, finer stuff is where the Ember tetras are going to hang out. It's where the 3-line pencil fish hang out. It's where the baby guppies and endlers hang out. And then everyone else can cruise the open water up above. But I had jelly bean tetras in here for a while too. And then I tried to breed and I killed them when I tried to breed them because I'm a dummy. And I put them in basically battery acid on accident. They're just way too acidic of water for what I thought they could handle, like 4.0 acidity. But apparently those ones had been tank raised their whole lives and they could not. They died the next morning. And usually Rasboras, Tetras, you can put them in 4.0 pH, and as long as it's, due to tannins, like natural things, and not some sort of caustic acid you just added to the mix, and as long as it's not a wild swing and you got some buffer in there, they do pretty well usually. So I was surprised by that, but that's a whole other tangent. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm gonna get out of here. I don't want to cut off Danikin Aquatics. They're doing their giveaway for his 2,000 subscribers. And Ken, I am supposed to get the code tonight. So hopefully I get that code tonight, because also Kenny's counting on me for Danikin Aquatics. What happened is I had a $100 gift card thanks to Isabel Chassé, who's on here a lot, a loyal viewer. And I had a $100 gift card, like, that she actually gifted me as, like, instead of Patreon or membership type stuff, she gave me that, which was so kind. But then I asked them to split it. So I'm basically giving you and then Kenny each a $50 one. And the other $50 were ones I already had the codes for. So they had to split it, then cancel that, and then get me new cards. And so the gal who does it has been working remotely the last week because, I don't know, COVID stuff maybe. But in any case, yeah, it'll be coming to you soon. You and Kenny are on my radar for sure. I didn't forget about you from the last $50 giveaway. I'll get that going. All right, let's see. So I think that's about it for now. I'll be back tomorrow. And you guys, thanks for chatting it up. We ended up with super chats of 1887. The year that my state was added to the federal states, the United States of America, officially. Not the year it became a state, the year that it was officially accepted into the Union of States.